Greetings, fellow hunters and cosmonauts. Today we'll be covering a very important subject in our favorite ecosystem, that would be InterChain Security. In the quest for unification and mass adoption, the solutions and characteristics of this gigantic process called ICS will hopefully help reduce division and increase initiative in creating new projects. There are many teams building on Cosmos, but one in particular, a development company called Informal Systems, worked hard in order to create a shared security model with multiple advantages across Cosmos blockchains. Thus, ICS was born. So what do we mean when we say that ICS means easier access to security? Well, first of all, we need to understand the fact that proof of stake as a means to secure a network has a simple principle at its core. The larger the network and more valuable its stake tokens, the more secure it becomes. But for smaller networks, that obviously creates vulnerability. This is what InterChain Security tackles. If you have a new product you're looking to launch, instead of worrying about building security from the ground up, you can instead lease this security by making governance proposal to have your chain included on ICS. Interchain security is built using inter-blockchain communication, otherwise known as IBC, in order to keep the validators in sync. Imagine having a whole set of 175 validators securing your chain instead of chasing individual validators and lobbying for the adoption of your chain. The massive Cosmos Hub and its validators will be on the table as an option to move forward without fear of leaving your idea vulnerable to attacks. The delegators are still in charge of the decisions. Whilst the consumer chain adhering to ICS will have to send a portion of their inflationary rewards and fees to Cosmos Hub's validators and delegators, the governance proposal will be ultimately decided upon based on the votes of the delegators. As far as minimalism goes, as Cosmos Hub explained in their own Medium article, practical minimalism is one of the other important goals in advancing security and reducing vulnerabilities by reducing the number of features. By attributing features to a separate entity that handles interconnection, individual consumer chains can go almost as far as they want in customization, having their own governance tokens and so on, but still contributing to the hub. We talked about V1 security so far, which is using the hub's validators. The V2 security aspect, a possible roadmap feature, would be discussing allowing layered security by combining Cosmos Hub's validator set with the consumer chain set for an additional layer with lateral shared security agreements, where, of course, Cosmos SDK projects should be focused on. One of the main components of ICS is, of course, the interchain accounts. They enable cross-chain communications and access to execution of different actions between IBC-enabled blockchains. In this relationship, one party has to be the host chain, so basically where the interchain account is registered, and the other has to be the controller. If a controller, for example, Stride Network, has an interchain account with another IBC network, such as Somalia, this will allow the users from Stride to execute actions on Somalia's chain, such as staking, token swaps, governance voting, or even more than that. The next component we're going to talk about is the ICQ, meaning the interchain queries. They allow numerous actions cross-chains, such as querying an account's balance, account delegations, if a transaction has failed or not. The IBC communication through ICQ allows algorithmic and transparent success, and it also eliminates the need for communicating directly with a provider's application, ensuring a low latency, trustless solution through the queries module that is automatically verified using cryptographic proof. For DeFi apps, querying data without required consensus is a big step in the right direction, which is what the cryptographic proof basically does. It replaces that consensus. During late October of this year, 2022, Game of Chains was announced, marking the start of the third public incentivized Cosmos Hub testnet and the first ICS public testnet. Validators, including our own team, BlockHunters, compete in order to complete a number of tasks and test InterChain Security's protocol implementations. Further on, we want to talk about ICS consumer chains. A first set of consumer chains will be tested during the Game of Chains, including Neutron, Duality, and Stride. Later on, starting in 2023, when the mainnet ICS upgrade is expected to happen, these consumer chains will join the Cosmos ecosystem. There are multiple things to consider. Circling back a little bit on the ICA and ICQ components, there are different versions of these components, the way the features work and how they can be implemented throughout the IBC compatible chains remains to be defined for a later date and may be adapted accordingly, though they do work well enough in the current situation, versions, and iterations. The value behind the whole concept of InterChain Security should make it easier for projects to fall under the Cosmos Hub umbrella and build the picture we discussed in the intro of efforts towards unification by providing shared consensus without eliminating sovereignty. If you've enjoyed this video or our content in general, feel free to support us by following our social media profiles. You can find them in the description down below. We recommend you do likewise with the projects/teams we've mentioned in this video, Cosmos Hub and Informal Systems. Keeping track of their roadmaps will allow you to stay updated and informed on InterChain Security as well. As always, we've tried keeping this as non-tech friendly as possible. However, let's face it, we're discussing the blockchain here. If you've reached this video, it probably means you want to understand what ICS and shared security really means. There's no way of doing that without getting your hands a little bit dirty. On the other hand, if you are a tech person, such as a coder or a developer, and you want to contribute and get more involved, start by following the tech descriptions in the link that we've put in the description towards InterChain Security Academy. And why not sign up with a tech role at Informal Systems to help speed things forward and help build on Cosmos. BlockHunters out.